Hello homies and welcome to day 7, the last day of our World Homeopathy Awareness Week special, where we have been bringing you an episode every single day from 10 to 16 April to celebrate the birthday of the founder of homeopathy, Samuel Hahnemann, who was born on 10 April 1755. So today's episode is with a lady named Peiling. Now Peiling has been using homeopathy for many years and she is now also studying homeopathy through Switch on Health. So listen to episode 35 of this podcast to find out more about this wonderful college where you can study homeopathy in Australia. Now, this episode with Peiling was recorded on a Zoom call we had, and you'll hear in this episode that Peiling actually ends up teaching me a trick or two. Now, I honestly believe that our clients are our biggest teachers, and I want to take a moment to also thank all of my incredible clients over the past 10 years who you have all taught me so very much. So some I've only walked a short journey with, and for many others, it's been several years, but each and every one of you are incredibly special to me, and I'm always here when you need me. Thank you so much, and I hope you've enjoyed this series of podcasts. Enjoy.
My name is Peiling, and I'm a mother of 2 daughters. One is 11 this year, and the other is 8 this year. And, I use homeopathy for everything. And I think I want to talk about what they're going through lately. My eldest daughter had autism, when she was younger, after all the vaccination, and she never ate. People say, oh, it's fine. And literally I'll get 1 slice of watermelon into her a day. And she hasn't been great in maths, and she also has a lot of anxiety. So in class, usually the boys would make fun of her and say, I'm on high maths, I'm younger than you, or you're not fast enough. And this year, we've just been treating whatever comes up, if she got ill or certain anxiety, pains or things like that. So we just go with what she has.
Colds or whatever comes up.
Yeah, so we just treat her in that manner. And recently with the school, new teacher, he's giving a lesson and with all the boys, and then they have to complete the worksheet. And it's always like a race with the boys, and she's beating all of them. And they're the one that's normally faster, they're ahead of her, and then even her spelling, everything. She's surprised because she's never been like that. And what I found with homeopathy, it took away the anxiety of learning. And once those anxiety is relaxed, the brain just grows and just absorb everything. And so she's better able to access all the information that she needs to be able to answer the questions and to basically learn. So it's been really amazing.
You've just given me goosebumps. That's so important what you're saying, because so many children, so many adults, so many of us in the workplace, we have anxiety. So we're not actually able to perform our best because we're so concerned about, what might other people say? Will I make a mistake? Will I get in trouble? All these things that go on in our minds, sometimes subconsciously even, and then we're not able to perform our best. So.
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't know whether you've heard of the guy, Jim Quick. I've been listening to his talk just yesterday. And he was talking about part of it is the emotional setback in your head. And in order to have unlimited memory and everything, so part of it is actually being able to change that emotional state. And I think homeopathy does that so well. And I was thinking, by the time I use all these things, all these techniques, it will take me forever. So I use the cheap way of homeopathy. Everything. and you see it in the kids, I had a colleague and her daughter was going to high school, and this was a couple of years back, and she couldn't talk anymore. Her brain wasn't connecting. She couldn't bring words out of her mouth. So then she was walking around going la, 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 because nothing was coming out of her mouth. The brain wasn't connecting. And she was stressed, and because she lives an hour away from work. So, so she had to get out at 5 to make sure her daughter does her speech therapy exercise. And I just looked at it. You can see just the color draining from her and what she's telling me. And I said, okay, let me know when that doesn't work. And she was she just stared at me and gave me the eye and just said, no, you tell me what you want to say. I said, no, I don't want to force my thoughts on you because it's your child, But if it doesn't work, then we can try something else. And she said, no, you just let me, just give it to me. So I talked about homeopathy, and the only thing I gave her was calcium carbonate. And she didn't say anything for a while. And then she fell sick, and because her husband fly in, fly out, but they're like a month. So she was sick and didn't come to work for like 2 weeks because she was alone. And she was so sick, I think 2 to 3 weeks by the time I saw her. And she says, oh my God, it's working. I didn't realize because I was so sick. And she stopped doing it. But because it's so gentle, it looked like she fixing it. But she didn't finish the remedies I gave her. So it came back. So it was perfect timing. Came back when she sort of started going back to work, and she says, can I have some more? I said, nah, I'm not giving you any more. Finish the 3 days that you have left, just finish it. And then we'll talk later. And she finished at 3 days, and it never came back. Anxiety, everything, it just became better. She would call her mum like so many times a day. She would not leave the house, would not go for play dates anymore, will not. And then after that, she's walking home from school by herself. And now she's in high school and she catches the bus and go wherever she likes. And then also, I didn't know, but the mum always said to me, I don't worry about the grades. And I didn't realize she was actually getting D's on all her subjects. And then with a few homeopathic remedies, and she was getting a B's and A's.
I've got full-on goosebumps as you're saying this, Peiling. And I just want to say for the listeners, Peiling's not a homeopath. So this is just the amazing work that she's doing as a home prescriber. And there is some intuition involved as well. But Peiling's trusting her instincts of using these remedies and prescribing it herself. So just telling you mums out there, you can do some amazing work if you put the time in to learn about the homeopathic remedies and just try them out and see how you go. And of course, if you get stuck, there are some, homeopaths out there that you can go to, but you can do amazing work. Look at what Peiling's done to be able to help her friends around her just with using these remedies.
Well, Eugenie has a homeopathy hanger, and that's fantastic. And, not only like the podcast and your group is just growing. There's so much to try, to learn. And that's what I found, because I think I'm just at a stage where my child is going through, there's always bullying, there's always anxiety, not good enough. And
it's tough these days.
It is.
School is tough. The stuff I hear in the clinic of what children go through at school, I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought my schooling was, rough. But I think with social media, it's just made everything amplified and intensified everything so much more. The kids have so much more to deal with.
I don't know whether it's that, or I think it's the anxiety and also all the chemicals in
all technology in the schools, and there's no break for them from it. Hey.
No, and we have a no technology policy at home. I mean, they do use a bit of iPad now, but that is why my daughter draws, is because whenever we go to a restaurant previously, when she was young age, she always had a notebook. So she either writes or she draws. And so that's actually where we're at. And, my youngest is actually going through NAP plan soon, and she can't write anything. So I'm just waiting a few more days because she just finished remedy. So I'm going to try lycopodium and see whether that's boosts her creativity. So I'll get back to you on that one.
Absolutely. And as we were chatting, I was just thinking Hahnemann, the remedy that's made from the milk of a dog. It's such a good one for bullying. I've had almost 2 good results for that in clinic once. I'll never forget, a couple of years ago, I gave it to a little boy. He was about 8 and he was getting bullied physically being bullied by this kid at school. And the parents and the teachers were all at a loss. And then we gave this child a Hahnemann made from the milk of a dog. And after 2 doses, the mum called me up. She's like, what have you done? My child has just punched this bully in the face. And I was like, yes. And the mum was mortified. I was thinking, this child has stood up for himself. It's such an important step. Obviously, it's not ideal. You want to teach him better ways of dealing with it. But I was just glad that he stood up to the bully, because there's actually, so many children commit suicide because of bullying at school. It's so, sorry, we're going off topic here, but I was just mortified just recently. I saw it on Facebook again of this, I think 10, 11-year-old boy that committed suicide. He hung himself with his hoodie off his bunk bed because of bullying at school. And it's just not on. So I'm sorry, but if it means you need to punch the bully in the face, I would rather you do that than hang yourself. So it's horrific what's happening in schools these days with bullying.
It is. We just have an extended family member committed suicide. She's 15. And
oh my gosh.
She's in Japan. I'm not Japanese, but she's such a beautiful child. You helped me with this, actually. You posted an article from your New Zealand. It's about staphylogragia, about bullying. So every time my daughter would get bullied, that's the reason why I haven't moved her to the lycopodium yet, is because she was getting picked on at school. And so she's on Staphylococcus. And
Is it Staphylococcus? Is that the one?
Sorry,
yeah, no. I know the Latin names are tricky, but Staphylococcus is really, good for that.
So what I found, that was actually really good to actually, it's not to attack back, it actually resolve that so that she's not their attention. So what it does is that instead of like in a playground, a random kid comes up, she would end up being in the way of whatever he's on, like it will pick on her. But when that remedy goes in, is like
everything changes your energy, hey?
Yeah, it really changes your energy, and it doesn't actually change. And I had a mum who was just angry all the time and said, like, whatever she put her finger in, she just felt victimized because everyone, and then she was getting headache and distress. And I said, let's try this remedy, because like I've just noticed, like over this few years that I've known you, everything you touch seems to like everyone focus on you. And so she ended up taking it, and she says, oh my God, it's like 80% better in like a day. So
somebody will come back after a consultation and I'll ask, how's your mood been? And they'll be like, oh, my mood's been great because everyone's been so nice around me. And I'm like, yeah, it's actually because your energy's changed. And so people respond differently because your energy changes. Hey, and then people respond differently to that.
And I think that remedy also does well. My daughter actually, she keeps injuring herself. Like she'll fall down, she'll get scraped, cuts, everything. And it's also like a self-bullying, like it's a mental thing. And when I see her getting hurt herself, like it's accident, or getting hit or just falling or just suddenly cut herself from something. And I put that remedy in, and that resolve that whole episode, and it stops. It literally just stops. And so she stops hurting herself.
Well, you have just taught me something, Peiling, because I have actually used that remedy for often teenagers who do self-harm. So when they're cutting themselves or harming themselves on purpose. But you've actually just made me realize, of course, if you're doing it by accident, there's that similar sort of energy. You're not doing it consciously, but you're hurting yourself by accident. So I'm going to try that remedy in future for what you've just said. Thanks.
I don't know. It's you.
No, you're teaching it back to me, so that's good.
So just the article because it was to do with, I think you said
it was for head lice. Hey?
Lice.
Yeah, that's the one.
It, and I thought, you know what? I can use it for this, and I'll try it on this. And I've just noticed. So you posted a couple of years ago, so I've been using it, and I've just noticed that it eases up all the turbulence that she's having, and then from there, then you can deal with the other issues, So now I think the lycopodium is perfect for her. It's also her confidence. And so it's just me, just trial and error.
Well, you got to do it. And at least you can't do any harm. And I will just do a shout out to that article. That's actually Leanne McCall from Healing Haven in New Zealand that wrote that article a few years ago. And I've referred to it, must be 10 years ago. I've referred to that article so many times over the years. It's actually Staphylococcus, and it's used to prevent head lice. So prevent and treat head lice. And if you think of head lice at school, not everyone gets head lice. My kids have never had head lice, but then I've also never washed their hair with shampoo ever, only with water. So I don't know if maybe their natural oils are protecting them, but Staphylococcus has that thing of people kind of invading them or things invading them and their space, and then they just suppress that anger down. And so if you think of head lice, it's when they're kind of invading you, they're seeing that your energy is weak, and then they come and sit on your hair. And also remember that's used to prevent mosquito bites. So yeah, and then if you extrapolate that mental emotional picture of it, you can see how this remedy really has so many incredible uses. So
I think because while you're talking, I just thought of one more thing that I'm doing. I'm not sure whether anyone will find it. I'm still waiting for feedback.
Yes.
I've been using silica tissue salt a lot. My friends' kids are getting transmission a lot. So we tried remedies and stuff, but then I actually had a thought. Tissue salts are actually, like every cell of your body requires this. So I've been giving everyone silica, even myself and my kids, and I'm finding it that the silica would give them like an energy boundary. So like those things can't come in that boundary.
I love that's so great. I'm just going to, for listeners that might be familiar with different terms. So what Peiling I think is saying is that, a lot of us are experiencing transmission symptoms from being around people who have recently had the COVID vaccination, and because of the spike proteins and the body trying to get rid of that viral matter, when you're in touch with people who've had the vaccination, often you can have symptoms. I definitely do. My period goes out of whack when I've been around recently vaccinated people. So what Peiling is saying, you can put homeopathic tissue salts, the silica tissue salts do you put it in your water bottle or do you just take it?
The kids I put in a water bottle, and I told my friends so that they can sip it throughout the day. And I would do it for about a month so that it sort of strengthened that boundary. And I don't know, I'm waiting for all the kids to have the second jab so that I could see, because my kids would come back with headaches, nauseous, and digestive issues, like what everyone's having.
Oh, my kids have had it too. It's very scary.
Try the silica. So and so what I've found is that the tissue salt builds up their constitution and strengthen them. So
I love it. And also silica pushes foreign matter out of the body. So I love what you're saying.
So it basically it gives you a boundary and a border. So like when people are around you, so it pushes things that are not part of you away. So
I love it.
I think a lot. So that's why all of this is actually me sitting there thinking. So I get nothing done of my study, but I think a lot.
I'm the same. My brain, I always say, my brain goes 24/7 as well, but at least my brain is good company. I don't mind it. It's lots of chatter going on there, but it's interesting conversations.
No, I agree.
So I learn so much from my clients, so much more than you will ever know. So that is so great, Peiling. I'm definitely going to do that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think because I don't see my friend that often and they don't give me feedback. I'm thinking no news is good news.
Do you know what? So often, and I shouldn't get annoyed by it. Sorry, we're having this great conversation at the moment. It was supposed to be 2 to 5 minutes, but this is way more fun. So often I think, I haven't heard from their client. I wonder how they're going. And just this week, I had somebody post in our group and I saw her recommend to somebody else that person comes and sees me, because the question was in this other group, Facebook group, can homeopathy help with allergies? And then this patient of mine comes out. She's like, yeah, I've had allergies for 10 years and I had to go for desensitization injections for 10 years and and Eugenie sorted me out in a year and I don't have any of that medication. I'm like, wait, what? You never told me this.
I read that one.
Yeah. So with the say no news is good news, because so often I'll have, people say this and that and the next thing. And I'm like, it would be nice if you told me that. But I also know for myself, if a chiropractor has sorted me out or whatever, I don't necessarily always take the time to go tell that person. I'm just so happy that I'm fixed.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I also use homeopathy on my dog. I think he's turning 16 this year.
Oh,
and he is so for the last 11 years he's had tumors and cancers, and he became incontinence, like the pee and the poos, and he's also collapsed. I think one day he became and he had fluid. He has pneumonia, fluids in the lung, and he's always coughing, and he's had this for a very long time. And my daughter's violin teacher had her dog got the pneumonia last year, but for a short period of time, and he passed away. And my dog has been like this for for so long, and we use so many remedies on him, and now he is not incontinence. But, he does bark and say, okay, let me out at about 6 a.m. So he's not having any accidents, which is great, especially a dog this old. And he has such a healthy appetite. And all throughout his life, he's always been really scared of thunderstorm. And there'll be poo everywhere and he'll be running to hide. Like, he's so anxious. And now when there's thunderstorm and my husband's calling me, tie the hound up. And I'm like going, no, he's fine. And he's just lying there sleeping peacefully. And it's been an amazing journey, and he's just eating so well. Before, he used to be a fussy eater. He wouldn't eat, and now he clears his bowl every meal. All our friends' dogs that are younger, they have arthritis and they're not walking. They can't hear. They can't see. He sees okay, and he's because he's old dog, and he hears really well. He responds really well. So I just think, and my friend has her dog, and she's only about 10 or 11, and she has fatty tumor all over. And I kept saying, that's huge. It's all over her body. I said, it's huge. And she said, no, it's fine. It's fatty tumor. They tested it. It's not cancerous.
Oh.
and they cut one up previously. But since then, she's just had heaps of tumors, fatty tumors all over her body. And so when she went for a scale and clean, they said, this doesn't look right. We got to cut it up. And they went for testing and it was cancerous.
Oh.
And they did a lot of research and they said no. And they said, you know what, we're going to do this homeopathy way, like Peiling does with her dog. And because he's been like that for a very long time. And you know what, it's mainly, I only gave 1 or 2 remedies. I can't remember what it was. Kelp cup. I'm telling you, that's like one of my favorite remedies. If you say my 3 favorite remedies, probably kelp cup is one of them. And just tissue salt, because I guess they can buy it from normal pharmacy. So they just bought it themselves, and and she's fine. And the cancer has shrunk. So like even the other tumors that they didn't cut up has actually shrunk in.
Oh, that's beautiful, Peiling. So, it's nice that our animal friends can benefit from homeopathy as well. And I do find animals respond really well to homeopathy.
Because they don't have so much of the mental that we live in.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think that's another thing. I think the other things I love is my plants. And
you showed me that orchid of yours.
Yeah, but I don't have any photos. But recently, with all the hot weather, and I'm not sure, but like Perth has had, all around the world have had a boom on plant sale, like plant collection. And the nicest stuff is the variegated plants. I don't know whether you know much about it. So where the plant is white, like half white, half green. So
variegated. Yeah.
So like a variegated monstera could be a few thousand.
Oh, they're beautiful. Or the devil's ivy, the one that I've got behind me, I think. Yeah, you get a variegated. That one's kind of variegated.
But I think the other one is the variegation is white. And what happens is that not in the right condition, because I have this, it's not very expensive. I don't have that expensive one, but I'm just putting it out there. And it had only as like I was new to plants. So I used to chop off and offer like the nicer variegation to everyone. And so this plant ended up reverting and just being a plain green.
No.
I was
Are you serious?
I was devastated. And then, and the other part of me is that I'm so lazy at repotting. I'm just so busy. So I'm so lazy at repotting. And I looked at it, I thought, oh, you're going to die. So, and because it's been so hot and I can see like everything's browning. So then all I do is chuck in like a remedy in. And the next thing you know, like the plant is now variegating.
Wow. So it's
from like the last few years just being all green. Green the last few years. And that's how not looked after they are. And
you could be sitting on a gold mine there, because like I have seen those monsterias, the variegated ones, for thousands of dollars as well. And I was like, who would pay that?
No, I tell you what, like these monstera, like I wanted, because they were expensive, and my friend had one, and I said, can I get a clipping? Her plant was tiny. And I asked for a clipping, and she's like, oh, I don't know. And she gave it to me to look after, because I've been eyeing it at her house. It's just not growing. And she's got all these bugs. And I was like, okay. And then she gave it to me in winter and was in water. And, you literally kill the plant because it's full, and we don't have heaters
tropical.
On. So what I did was I remedied my plants, and at the same time remedied my orchid, because you make one batch and you just do all your plants. And so during the winter, with no heat mat, with no heaters on in the house or anything, all my plants started shooting leaves in winter. And this monstera generally only grow one branch, and if you chop it might grow a second, like two branch. And you know what, since I chopped her plant, oh my God, you should see this plant. It's not very big, but it has like 6 new leaf and different shoots coming out. And I was showing it to other people, and I said, this never happened. And my other friend's a plant collector, and she says, no, this never happens. Like it never ever happens, because the monstera only likes to grow 1 or 2 branch. But there's literally 6 branch with 6 new leaves coming out of this plant, because it takes a lot of energy. And so all these remedies, it's like so powerful. And like people just think that it's a placebo, but my plant don't know placebo.
I know.
And my friend's plant definitely don't know placebo. And
or your dog.
Yeah, or my dog, my sister-in-law, they all, they're all medicine. They're all into the Western medicine, and it's like it's so funny. And then, but they're listening to me and putting all these things in,
Chemicals.
yeah, like pillows. They go, okay, whatever. We just shove it in, and they just water, and like just the way the plants grow, it's amazing. Like I had a calathea that was dying, and literally one leaf left, and it was all brown. And I thought to myself, oh, you really need a repot. But you know what? I'm so busy and it's too hot. I'm too lazy. So you know what? I put in a remedy, and you know what? And I ignored it for the last few weeks. And next thing, and I gave that remedy away. And then next thing you know, I looked at it. I was like, oh my God, it's covered in leaves now. And it's like in 2 weeks, it just grew. And I was like, oh my God, people really should learn to use the remedies in the plant. It's amazing.
And anyone who wants to go Google that area of homeopathy is called agro homeopathy. And you had me blown away when you showed me a picture of your orchid a while ago, because I don't know how I do it, but I always managed to kill my orchids. And then you showed me this orchid of yours that was just flourishing after you gave it, I think, some silica. And I was like, how did I not think of a homeopathic remedy for my orchids? So
I think it's just because I'm lazy, Eugenia. I think a lot of people put in a lot of care, because my friend actually repots almost every week. And I'm like, for the last few years, and even, like most people, you at least have to repot once a year. And I've just like not repot for the last few years. And I just say, okay, you're not growing. Okay, just chuck in a remedy, and just have a look. And that's all I've done. And, like it's all root bound. There's no soil left in these pots. And yet they are flourishing and still growing because I'm just so lazy, and I just chucked in the remedies instead.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. Well,
So I'm just so lazy.
Peiling, this has been such a fun conversation. I'm so glad our 2 to 5 minute chat turned into, I don't even know how long we've been going, but this is such valuable stuff that our listeners, I know, are going to love, because it just shows you what you can do with homeopathy in your everyday life. You don't need to go study 4 years full time. You can go grab yourself some remedies and start using them straight away and get some great results. So you have been such an inspiration today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eugenie.